What up? What's happening, everybody? We are on the plains 2 times.
That's right. Auburn University, brother.
Absolutely. And we got a very special guest. All of our guests are special, but this guy needs no introduction. The next guest is a longtime supporter, also friend to myself, to Auburn University. He's done a lot. And the reality of it is, chances are, if you had a house or a deck since it's outdoor grilling season, 12 months out of the year, chances are you had your backyard done by him. Founder and CEO of Yellowwood, founder and CEO of Great Southern Wood, CEO of Yellowwood, and fellow War Damn Eagle. Man, y'all give it up for Jimmy Rane. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, Takeo. It's always a pleasure to be with you. You and I have known each other since you were a player, stayed in touch, and so proud of you and your friends and all the things y'all have accomplished, but you have represented us so well and such a great ambassador for Auburn University and Auburn Athletics, and I'm happy to be with you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I remember walking on the plains at 17 years old, and we're gonna get into it a little bit later, but just seeing the billboards of Yellowwood at that time, and I was like, wow, what is Yellowwood? But we're gonna get into that though.
Yeah.
But today is a big day. Our Auburn Tigers are playing against the Oklahoma Sooners. This is the first time that we get them in Jordan Hare. I just simply want to know, like, what you looking forward to seeing today in today's matchup?
I want to see us play a complete game.
Yeah.
I feel like we've got a really much better football team than what we've shown so far. We've had some bad breaks. You can't turn the football over 5 times in the game and expect to beat anybody. But I don't think that's representative of this team. I've watched them practice, and I've got a lot of confidence if they can put together a complete game, we're going to surprise some folks.
Absolutely.
One of the things that intrigued me in doing some research about you is that you started marketing your products through college football.
Right.
And with the coaches and other college football teams. What went into that mindset in terms of figuring that niche out when it wasn't done before?
Well, I wish I could say it was a unique idea that I came up with, but I was attending an advanced education program at Harvard.
Okay.
And I was really, at that time, that was 1984. And our company was really struggling. I mean, it was, every time we'd walk in a building supply store, the only question they wanted to ask was, what's your price? And I was trying to tell them about how good the product was. The chemical was the purest in the world, and anyone hearing that, they just want to know what the price. So we were studying this case at Harvard called Purdue Chickens. And there was about a guy that was kind of in the same shape I was in. He was about to go broke, Frank Purdue. But he was making the best chicken out there. And the grocery store didn't want to hear it. So he decided, well, before I go under, I'm going to tell my story. So he started advertising and talking directly to the mothers, telling them about the chicken. So I said, and it worked. I mean, it just turned. Then when he went in the grocery store, the guy said, yeah, I want to buy some of those Purdue chickens. So I said, how can I do that with lumber? And I got to thinking, what emotional thread runs through our part of the country where we all are that ties us together? And it was football, college football. Right. And Pat Dye was a good friend of mine, and I'd never done it before. I came back after we got home from Harvard, and I sat down and I said, Pat, I got this idea. I don't know if it'll work, but what if we started trying to tie Yellowwood and Auburn together? He said, I don't know, I'll help you. So that's how we started, and it worked. Yeah. And then Pat would introduce me to some other coaches, and we just kind of went from there, and it's worked really well since then.
Really well?
Yeah.
The number one lumber company in the world, really, you think?
Yeah.
Did you think then that you guys would be as big as you are now? Or did you even have the vision or the inclination that it would be what it is today?
No, man. when I started this company, it didn't exist. It was non-existent. I mean, it was, I bought an old treatment plant that was not operating in the woods, had one employee, this old black man named Lawson Curry. And when I went down there and bought it, Lawson was living in a wood frame house with a electric cord hanging from the ceiling and the light bulb screwed in it.
Wow.
And every time it would rain, Alice had buckets everywhere catching the water. She's cooking on a wood stove and had an outhouse. And I said, Lawson, if you'll stay here and help me and teach me how to do this, I'll take care of you. You'll have a job for life. But the first thing we're going to do, buddy, is we're going to build you and Alice a house. And I went right next door and built him a house with air conditioning, indoor bathroom, electric range, television. And Lawson came in there and helped me. To this day, the highest honor you can win at Great Southern is the Lawson Curry Award.
Ah, so you named it after him.
Yeah, that's right. And here we are 54 years later, me and him starting it. Now we got over 2,000 employees and over $2.5 billion in sales. Thanks to Lawson.
Thanks to Lawson.
Amazing.
That's all right. But it's truly a testament to how you've always been. And I'm speaking in terms of just watching from afar when I didn't have a dog in the fight and just seeing how you treat people. It's that old adage, if you really want to see how somebody, employees or the alumni is doing, just talk to if you want to see how the culture is of a company, talk to the alumni. And that's been the consensus going all the way through when you talk to the alumni, people who's been affiliated. Because when they come in and do a good job, Jimmy, you take care of them and you take pride in that.
Well, that's the right thing to do. Share. You know, it's what we were talking about earlier, about finding the things that unite us, not the things that divide us. And being generous and sharing, giving everybody their fair share. That's the right thing to do.
And the cool thing about it is, I look at, whenever I meet interesting people, I look at what are the synergies that we both have in common. And one of the things that jumped out was just the business school. You know, you going to business school and then me going to business school, you started your company and I'm starting BTM.
Right.
So I thought that was just a cool deal for me. Going to business school really opened my mind up and I really saw how the monster works and how I was a part of the monster versus being able to direct the monster. So very inspirational. I say that to say it the least.
Thank you.
And what we want to do now, we want to announce an amazing partnership with Yellowwood and BTM Behind the Mask Podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Jimmy.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Rob. No, he's out here somewhere.
Well, I'm just honored to be a part of it, and I'm proud of y'all and what you're doing. I think you're doing good work, and I think it's important to try to help each other be successful. And y'all are getting your company started, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
And this segment right now, guys, this is a segment we created. It's the Bringing the Lumber segment. Powered by Yellowwood, built for the biggest hits on the field and in your backyard. We're celebrating the most punishing tackles, the hardest hits each week, and it coincides with Yellowwood, how they protect your 5-star backyard. So, Takeo, do the honors.
So, Jimmy, I want to know, I had plenty of Bringing the Lumber hits, but I want to know, what was your Bringing the Lumber moment?
Well, that really isn't fair, because I've seen a lot of Bringing the Lumber moments on Jordan Hare Field from a lot of great players. And to try to single out anyone, I know you were one of the hardest hitting players we ever had, and we've had a lot of them over the years. And it kind of, trying to automatically come up with one is, but I guess in thinking about it, 1983 was such a special year for Auburn. And to try to help put that in context, we'd gone through nearly 10 years of being a redheaded stepchild. We hadn't beaten Alabama. We hadn't really, and Coach Dye came in 81, and we had a good season, almost beat Alabama that year. We did do it the next year in 82, But 83, now that was a special season.
Oh,
We started off with Texas, and we lost here that first game. But then we started marching all the way to the end. And we were playing Boomer Esiason at Maryland. And they came in, they were supposed to beat us. And it was a heck of a football game. Greg Carr was playing linebacker. And Greg Carr could bring the lumber now, buddy.
He brought that wood, huh?
He brought it.
Wood. And I mean, he did it all day long. And then we wound up winning the game 35-23. And toward the end of the game, Boomer was making a comeback. And I think it was about I was on the sideline with Coach, and it was about our 35, 40-yard line. They had marched, and they were headed to the goal line. And old Greg stepped in and intercepted and stopped that drive, and that wound it up, buddy. That was, but it was a great game, and I just remember Greg he wasn't a big guy like you, but buddy, he could knock your ass off.
Bring that lumber.
Yeah, he could.
For sure, for sure. So you got your grandson with you. You guys are here
Yeah,
to...
little Tony.
Okay.
Little Tony, what's up? Let everybody know who Little Tony is.
Leo Rane.
Leo Rane. Two sports star, basketball, football, right? Am I missing anything?
No, sir.
So we look forward to seeing you in the plains one day. You're going to be here anyway, but we look forward to seeing you wearing that Auburn uniform. Which one is it going to be, basketball or football? You could be the first to do both. One of the first to do both, like Bo.
Probably basketball.
Basketball. He's a hooper.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Good stuff. So you're looking forward to the season? Obviously, big game today against Oklahoma. And
I am. We're in a rebuilding year. You know, most people don't realize that, you know, Auburn, we've had really one class out of four. We had, I think we've had one class that was ranked 15th or 16th out of the last four. And it takes time to rebuild a program, but we're on the way, and he's got a good class scheduled this year and next year. And these boys are playing hard. We're proud to have them and doing the big. And, you know, Coach Dye used to always say, I like to take 3 stars and make 5 stars out of them. Mm-hmm. And that's what he's doing. But it takes time, and you got to have patience. And you're going to make some early mistakes, and we've made some. But I'm confident these boys are going to turn around, and we're going to win some games we're not supposed to win before the season's over.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that. At least we're hoping that.
Yeah.
We that's the reason why we're here. Future of the program, last thing I want to get to you before we let you leave. What is we talk about NIL and we see it happening and you see a bunch of people complain, but the reality of it is that's where we are now with NIL. And if you want to be one of the top teams in the SEC, which automatically puts you as a top team in the country, you got to have the support.
That's right.
And where do you think we're missing the gap here at Auburn as far as bringing that support?
Well, the game's changed so much, Takeo. You know this, both of y'all. And today it's so much about being able to bring in the top talent in the country. And I don't think there's been a single SEC championship team to win that championship that didn't have 2 or 3 in a row top 10 recruiting classes. And for us to get there, we've got to do that. Well, to do that, you've got to be able to bring that talent. And today, unfortunately, that's a lot about money. Yeah. And every school is suffering from fatigue from trying to go to their big dollar donors and just wearing them out. And they've all just given and given. So we got to try to find a way to get everybody involved. And we've created this company. Seth Griffith is here today, and it's called Game Change.
Game Change.
Game Change. And it's a way for everybody to do a little something. If you have a Visa card or a MasterCard and you want to help your team, you can go to GameChange.com, make 3 clicks, designate who you want to receive your money. Then if you go to the store and buy a bottle of water and it's $1.57, it'll round it up to $2. And that change goes to your school, however you want it.
School that you designate.
School that you designate. Now, that might not seem like much, but you get 87,000 or 100,000 folks doing that. And in a year's time, you've really helped your school.
That's the power of numbers.
Power of numbers. And that's what we need is these passionate Auburn fans that are looking for a way to make a difference. They can do that. And it's something that I think, and it's any school. It can be Auburn. It can be Slippery Rock U. It can be any school you want all over the country, any fan. And you just go in and click and say where you want your money to go. But at least you're trying to help and not sitting on the sidelines, crossing your legs,
and
cussing, complaining.
How do we send our viewership to that platform?
GameChange.com.
GameChange.com and leave your extra change for the Auburn Tigers.
Wait a minute, Seth, what? GoGameChange.com.
GoGameChange.com.
There you go. GoGameChange.com.
And leave the extra, the pennies or the extra ends and send it over to the Auburn Tigers. Not Ole Miss, Tutan.
War Eagle, baby.
War Eagle.
Appreciate your time, Mr. Rane.
Thank you.
Jimmy.
So glad to be
Thank
with
you.
you.
War Eagle.
Proud of you, brother.
I see you.